Hetep, this is Ursa Ma'at Ra, Setep and Ra, Ramessu MeriAmun. Today's video is entitled, Don't Fear Death. A lot of people, they fear death. They are afraid to die, to leave the physical, because they feel like maybe it'll be painful, or they also feel like, it's going to be something they're going to leave behind. Let me explain something to everybody, okay? Death is a very, 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 very important occurrence, just as being born is a very, very important occurrence in life, okay? Everybody celebrates when someone is born, but everybody mourns when someone passes away. Okay? So, it's a problem there. It's a problem because people should not be mourning when someone passes away, because it's the grand scheme of things. See, when people die, that's a part of the circle, the very important circle of life. This is the way the great spirit God designed things to be. So do not be afraid. Have no fear when it comes down to facing death. People should have more conversations about death. We should talk about death. Don't avoid the conversation. Let's have a lot more conversations about death. The more you talk about death, the more comfortable one becomes, you see. So, talking about death, fearing death, all those things can be avoided by studying the wisdom teachings of our ancestors, okay? Studying the wisdom teachings will free you from the fear, will free you from the anxiety of worrying about death, okay? Because I know the majority of people on the planet, they have a certain fear for the unknown. You don't know what's going to become of you. You don't know, you really don't know. People really don't know, but I'm here to tell you the truth, okay? When you leave this planet, something happens, okay? Something happens. You go to the Duat, you go to the spirit realm. Based on how you've lived your life depends on if the reincarnation process ends or if you're repelled on to another lifetime, okay? And it goes by the way you lived your life, You could experience hell, you can experience a heaven, or you won't experience any of that. You just go straight and be one with God, okay? And this is how the ancestors explain it, okay? So, knowing that our ancestors never feared death, never feared it, should be a light at the end of the tunnel. That should be a light for you at the end of the tunnel. Why? Because our ancestors, they accepted death as being a part of life. They accepted it. As a matter of fact, there's instances through African history where people actually celebrated when someone passed away. They would have celebrations celebrating the death of an individual. It wasn't looked on and shunned upon as a bad thing as it is in modern times. In ancient times, death was seen as something that one had to go through in order to spiritually grow, okay? Death is a part of the journey. It's a part of it. Whether we all like it or not, we all have to meet that fate. Everybody is going to shed the physical body. That's just something that's going to happen in this life. It's nothing we can do to avoid it. So what can one do? What's the best thing for an individual to do? Talk about it. Study it. Get with like-minded people that have the same views that you have about life and speak about death. Because if you talk about death with somebody that don't understand spirituality, they're going to be scared. They ain't going to want to talk about that. But death, I'm here to tell you that death is a part of life. It's something that we have to all go through it. And that's just to get to the next level. Okay? If you don't live life righteously, right? And you pass away, God set up death as a way for you to get another chance to redeem yourself. Okay? So if you haven't lived righteously on this planet, you die, you shed the body, you shed the old life, and you get a new one and a new chance. You see? You get a new opportunity to do it all over again if you can't get it right in the current lifetime. Okay? So, with that being said, I think a lot of people are more nervous about the way they're going to die than actually dying. But then you have some people that are nervous about actually dying. Even if they were to go peacefully, they would be nervous about dying because, you know, it's the fear of leaving your loved ones behind. It's the fear of leaving behind all that you know. You know, all that you know is what you're leaving behind when you shed the physical body. And that could be scary to a lot of people. But I'm here to tell you that don't be afraid, okay? Don't be afraid. Just live life as righteously as possible so that karma does not cause you to have a gruesome death, okay? When you see people that have very gruesome deaths, it's because it's things in the past or past lifetime, karma in the past lifetime that they haven't met or made good with, okay? And that's what may have caused that individual to have a very gruesome death, you know? But most of the time, if you, you know, follow righteousness sincerely, you follow it sincerely, and you do good by people, and, you know, you do the right thing, 9 times out of 10, you know, you shouldn't die a very gruesome death, you know? 9 times out of 10, you know, the physical world is still unpredictable. But that's why you have to be self-aware. Self-awareness is very, very important, okay? That's very important, being self-aware. You know, so you got to be aware of what you're doing at all times, what you're thinking. You have to be aware. Some people are just simply not self-aware. So being self-aware is another way to prevent yourself from having a gruesome death. And when I say self-aware, that means being aware of your actions, the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are you hurting people? Are you doing evil things to people in secret? Are you just a person that's just on your apep? You have a lot of apep energy, meaning that, you know, you're greedy, you're jealous, you know, you're envious, you know, let go of all those things. Don't be that type of person. Don't wish death on other people. That's another thing to avoid, wishing death on others. Don't do those type of things because karma is activated by action, okay? And a thought is an action, okay? Speaking is an action. When you do something, that's an action, period. It could be speaking, walking, talking, throwing a rock, picking up something, slapping somebody, killing somebody, anything. All those things are actions, okay? So you want your actions to be as righteous as possible so that you can have the best chance possible at winning, okay? You have the best chance possible of becoming one with the Great Spirit, okay? You want to give yourself a chance, okay? So when it comes down to death, have no fear, okay? Have no fear. It's a part of life. It's something that we all must go through at one point or another. We all have to go through that. Some will go through it sooner and some will go through it later. But everybody has to experience that. The best thing for you to do is to prepare yourself. Prepare. Know that you are a spark of the divine consciousness. You're a spark. You're not just a human. You're a soul having a human experience. Never, ever forget that. You are a soul having a human experience. Being a human is not your true nature, is not your true form. Okay? Your true form is your form as a soul. That is your true form. Okay? That's who you are. This life is nothing but a short period within your grand life as a soul. Okay? Your existence as a soul. This is a small gap. Small gap. This life is a small, tiny gap in your journey as a soul. Okay? So I'm here to assure you that's how it is, according to the ancestors. I mean, the ancestors would not lie. The sages, they would not lie. I have complete, and I don't like to use the word faith, but the word faith does apply in this situation. I have complete faith in the ancestors. I know that everything they wrote in those stones are the way things are supposed to be. How do I know that? Because Egypt had over 3,000 years of peace. It's the only society in the world that has ever had that much recorded peace. There's no other society or civilization in the history of the human existence that had as much peace as ancient Kemet did. Okay? So our ancestors knew what they were talking about. They knew. Okay? So with that being said, don't fear death. Death is a part of life, just like being born is a part of life. They're both a reflection of each other. Death and life are a reflection of each other. Okay? Africans were never afraid. Africans were never afraid to die. We weren't. We weren't afraid of it because we recognized that this body is not us. It's just an avatar. It's just something that we're borrowing at the moment so that we can use this to learn. This is a tool. This body is nothing but a tool. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not you. It's a tool. Okay? It's a tool. So with that being said, the fear of death eradicated by studying the wisdom teachings. You have to study. You have to study the wisdom teachings of Shatat Neter. Okay? Shatat Neter is the way. You have to study. You have to do everything in your power to cleanse your mind. And when I say cleanse the mind, you're cleansing your heart, because the heart and the mind are one. The heart and the mind are exactly the same. There's no difference between the heart and the mind. Your thoughts come from your heart. That's where they come from. The brain is just a tool that you use to control the body. Okay? The heart sends the signal. The heart sends the demand. The brain processes the demand, and then it acts it out using your body. Okay? It acts it out. So the brain is nothing but a computer to control the body. That's what it is. The heart is where the thoughts are. The heart is where everything is. The heart is the decision maker. Okay? Not the brain. The brain just processes the thoughts that the heart has and causes the body to act out whatever the heart desires. All right? So with that being said, do everything in your power to live in righteousness. Death is nothing to fear. Death, you shouldn't fear death. Study the wisdom teachings. Learn. So that when you leave this planet, you could become a glorious spirit being. Okay? You could become an ancestor. All right? So this is Ursa Ma'at Ra Satep Ra signing off. You guys have a glorious day. Hetep.